Everybody, today I am going to do my updated foundation routine for you guys. So people have been asking me to do an updated foundation routine forever, so I'm finally doing it. I just went ahead and filmed it. I am going to say that I do not have perfect skin. I have rather imperfect skin. I do have a lot of breakouts and acne scarring and hyperpigmentation, so if it kind of bothers you, because you're going to see my face with absolutely no makeup on it when I start, so if it kind of bothers you to see that, you know, people with broken out skin, then don't watch it, because my skin can be kind of hard looking. I'm not trying to say that I have the worst skin, because, you know, I'm sure there are people out there that suffer a lot more than me, and then there are people out there that, you know, have better skin than me. But I really like to do this video because when I do my full coverage face of makeup, it's a way for me to feel comfortable stepping out of the house, and I like to show my face without any makeup on it, just as it is, to show other people with problem skin how I do cover everything up and how I get it to look, I mean, as natural as I can with full coverage, and my tips and products that I've found that don't cake up on me because I need to use extra products and more of them to cover up my problems. So I think it's just really helpful to show people, you know, with problem areas, even if you only have like a couple of problem areas and it's not too bad, just kind of the products I use to cover things up. I mean, nothing's going to be perfect. You can't, you know, make your skin look perfect if it's not perfect, especially if you have so many problem areas like me, but to a point where I can be comfortable and everything's not too cakey. So with that being said, let me just, a couple of notes about my foundation routine. It is a full coverage routine. It's the best way for me to feel really comfortable with my skin when I do go out. But just to say, I do not wear this foundation routine every single day of my life, because people will comment saying, you know, your skin is so bad because it's, you know, you're suffocating your skin with all this product. This is my full coverage routine. I don't use it every day. My, you know, holy grail routine, but I do not use it every day because it does suffocate the skin. So, and I wear makeup. I don't wear makeup more often than I do. You know, I wash it off as soon as I get home. I try not to wear it for too long. So just saying that, you know, this is a lot of product, but this is my full coverage routine and how I feel the most comfortable when I'm going out or doing something special or just going out to dinner, you know, whenever. But I do not wear this, you know, makeup like, you know, 40 hours a week or something. I do not wear this makeup that much, but you know, I do wear it maybe 3 days out of the week. I'll wear it. Not really the best idea to wear a full coverage makeup routine 7 days out of the week. I am aware of that. I chose to film this foundation routine on a day when my skin wasn't at its best. My skin does go up and down. I do have days where I have maybe only 1 or 2 active breakouts on my face, which is kind of as good as it gets, and then I do have days when I have a lot. I chose a day that was pretty much middle of the road for me as far as active breakouts, because I really wanted to show in the video how I cover up those, you know, really aggravated, you know, kind of red blemishes, because that's, you know, when you're wearing makeup and when I'm wearing a routine like this and you have acne prone skin and problem skin, you're really looking for products that you can conceal, you know, the worst things on your face without being too cakey. So I really did try to choose a day where I did have a couple of active breakouts so I can show you how my foundation routine works on that. I didn't choose a day when I woke up and my skin was having a fantastic day, because then I'm not really showing you why I do use the products that I do, because I could just use a lighter foundation on those days because I'm not trying to cover up anything horrendous. So I did choose a day when I had a couple of active breakouts and my skin really wasn't at its best to film, so that I can really show you guys why I use the products that I use and how they work on acne prone skin, because that's what this video is about. It's about helping people that have a lot to conceal. I'm not trying to hide my skin or make it seem better than it is. So with all that being said, I will switch to my tutorial on my foundation routine. Again, I understand that seeing people's broken out skin does gross some people out. I completely understand that, so you might want to switch this video off if you do not want to see that. But I'm fully aware of my skin and how it is, and I just have adult acne. I just do. My skin was a lot better when I was in high school and my first half of college. It was pretty much halfway through college that my skin got really bad. So I just have adult acne. I just do. If you're interested in seeing my updated foundation routine, stay tuned. Okay guys, so I have no makeup on now whatsoever. No moisturizer, no nothing. I just washed my face and I'm ready for makeup. So this is what it looks like. No makeup. You can see I have a lot of breakouts. Hyperpigmentation, a lot of acne scarring I have going on, but it is getting a little better, so it's good. But yeah, this is what it looks like with no makeup on. Okay, so the first step after washing my face and my hands and making sure everything is clean, I go ahead and use moisturizer, and I use my Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Gel. I use the gel because I have oily skin, and the gel is for people with oily skin because it doesn't, it helps you from getting too oily throughout the day, and it just kind of absorbs into the skin better, and it's not as moisturizing as the lotion version of this product. If you see me looking this way, it's just because I'm looking in my mirror right here. So I just apply it all over my face, eyes, everything, and it's just a nice base for everything. And then I use a chapstick. You can use any chapstick. I'm just using my Nivea A Kiss of Moisture right now because I don't like when my foundation and my concealer get on my lips. It's my Clinique Pore Minimizer T-Zone Shine Control. It's just a primer. I only use it on my T-zone, though I don't use it all over my face. So it comes in this little squeeze tube. I just get about that much on my finger, like a pea-sized amount, rub it in, and then I place it on my nose, right here on my cheeks, chin, and forehead. That's my T-zone where I have my biggest pores and I get the most oily throughout the day, so this just helps control the shine and minimize pores, and makes my makeup go on smoother in these areas where I have some bigger pores. So I just rub it in. Just let that set for a minute, and then I go on to my foundation. My Holy Grail foundation that I use is my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. This is really good for people who need a little extra coverage because this is like kind of medium to heavy coverage, and also people with oily skin because this matte texture really helps shine throughout the day, but it doesn't look too cakey because my skin is so oily. If you had dry skin, I would not use this. About that much. And then I take it and I rub it together on 2 fingers, and then I place it on my cheeks first because that's where I have the most problem areas. So I just kind of dot it on my cheeks like that and then rub it in. I use my fingers to apply my foundation. I just kind of do that. Apply it to my cheeks first and rub it down into my neck to blend. And then I do the same thing on the other side. I kind of do 3 dots like that, take my fingers and rub it in. And again, blend it down to the neck. Take a tiny bit more to do the rest of my face with. So just a little dot more like that. Again, rub it in, and then I apply it to my chin and to my forehead and nose. And just take my fingers and rub it in. Blend it up into the hairline as well. And then this foundation is really good as far as buildable coverage. It won't look too cakey if you want to build up the coverage. So I usually will put a second thin layer on my 2 cheeks here because this is where I have the most problems to cover up. So I just take a little bit more, kind of put it right there and blend it in. Just a really thin second layer. Once I have everything blended, I'll go in with my under eye, my Garnier Under Eye Dark Circle Roller. So I just pop this on under the eyes. And then I just take my middle finger and just pat it in under the eyes, just to help diminish my dark circles. And then I will not put another concealer on that for a couple of seconds. I just let that sink in. But I do conceal the rest of my face with my Maybelline Mineral Power Natural Perfecting Concealer, which is my favorite. My color is light 2 to 3. Conceal the rest of my face. So what I do is I always put 2 little dots right here on either side of my nose because I have some redness around my nose. Right here, my Cupid's bow, I get a little redness, and then I just cover any blemishes or discoloration that I have. So there is going to be a lot of concealing here because I have a lot of problem areas that peek through, but I really like this concealer because it's such a nice consistency. I don't really like concealers in pot form because I find them to be too cakey and I need a lot of concealer. This concealer is very buildable without ever being cakey. I love it so much for that. I can always just build the coverage on this if I need to, and it doesn't cake up on me. Even when you apply a powder over it, it doesn't cake up at all. It just blends into the skin beautifully. And I can use this for larger areas as well because it's not too thick of a concealer, but it's still very pigmented. So after I kind of conceal all my spots, I do 1, 2, 3 dots under my eyes over my little roller ball just for extra coverage. And I like to put the concealer on and let it sit for a second before I blend it in because this concealer gets a lot more pigmented when you let it dry for a second because it's not as watery. So then I just take my finger and I pat it in. I try not to rub my concealer in because then that's going to get rid of the pigmentation. It's not going to cover as well. And this concealer is not so thick, so you can pat it in without having to rub it in because just patting it in will blend into your skin beautifully without caking up. You don't really have to try too hard to blend this. You just pat it with your finger and it blends in nicely without being too cakey. That's why I love this concealer, but it's still very pigmented. It does cover all of my scarring and blemishes and everything else without caking up, which is what you really want when you have a lot to conceal. You like to use a powder with a little bit of more coverage because I do have a lot to conceal, so I like to use a powder foundation, and I'm using the MAC Studio Fix. I've used a lot of powders over the years, and this is my favorite. It's the most pigmented without caking up, and to get that look not too cakey, I apply it with a brush, not with the sponge that it comes with, because you're going to get a lot sheerer of a coverage with the brush, and it's not going to cake up on you. So I just swirl it in there. This is just a Revlon big powder brush that I use. It's kind of like almost flat, not as round. And then I just apply it all over the face. I start out on my cheeks and blend it down into the neck. My color is NW20 for the winter when I'm not tan. I go to 25 in the summer sometimes, but mostly a 20, NW20. And just apply it all over the face, just to set everything, and it does give a little bit more coverage. Blend it into the hairline. Then when I'm done with the powder and all of that, I go in with a bronzer, and I do go in with I don't go in with a matte bronzer. I go in with a bronzer that has a tiny bit of shimmer in it because everything that I'm using on my face is very matte, so this kind of perks up the skin a little bit, gives it a little bit of color, and gives it a little bit of dimension because everything is very matte and is just real, and you know, it's too powdery of a look. So I like to just bring a little bit and a very little bit of bronzer, especially this time of year when I'm not tan or anything. So I use my Holy Grail bronzer. My everyday bronzer is my Physicians Formula Baked Bronzer, and my color is Baked Tan. It's kind of got this gold veining running through it, but the shimmer isn't too noticeable. So I just take this big fluffy brush. I only ever use this for bronzer, and I just lightly tap it in there, and then always tap it off, shake it off, because you don't want too much bronzer. And then I just kind of go around my face in this like C motion. I do go all over the face. I don't just hit certain parts of my face, and always blend down onto the neck because I'm trying to perk everything up. I like to go down my nose a little heavier because that's where the sun would hit you naturally, and then on the cheekbones and the forehead as well with a little more because that's where the sun is going to naturally hit you. But pretty much a light dusting all over the face just to kind of finish it off, and brighten everything up a little bit, give it a little more color, not such a matte, powdery, dull look. This really perks up my skin, and then when my skin kind of settles into the makeup and I do start to get maybe a little oily, it gives me a nice dewy effect. It mixes, and my skin reacts well with this bronzer. It doesn't turn orangey or anything, so I really love this bronzer. I've been using it since college for years. And then I take this really dense kabuki brush, and with nothing on it, just a clean brush, and I blend, again, down onto the neck to get rid of any harsh line that I might have here from any of the products that I used, from the powder, from the bronzer, from the foundation, concealer, anything. And then I just look over, and if I have anything that needs blending, I'll go ahead, blend the hairline. And then my last little finishing touch that I actually usually do after I put my eyeshadow on, but I'll just show you right now, is just kind of set my under eye area, and I do use my e.l.f. Complexion Perfection. It's just this sheer brightening powder. It's got a tiny bit of shimmer in it. It's very sheer. I just place it underneath my eyes with this fluffy brush, and then just dust it underneath my eyes to brighten up that area. This is the finished product. Now I'm going to go do my eye makeup, and I'll be right back. Guys, so that was it. I hope that helped you guys. I hope that helped some of you. Again, you know, some of these products are not, you know, they're going to work for me and they might not work for other people. The only thing I have to say is that concealer is great. It is a very thin concealer but pigmented. It's perfect for people with breakouts because it is a mineral concealer, so it's not going to be, you know, the products are more natural. They're not going to be so harsh on your breakouts, and the fact that it's thinner means that it has more buildable coverage, so you're not going to get cakey if you put powder over it, or cakey even without the powder. It's just fantastic. But a lot of times when you get those thinner concealers, they're not as pigmented. This is fantastic, this concealer. It just saved my life, this concealer. It's totally pigmented and still thin enough to build coverage. If you have oily skin like me, a matte foundation is going to be your best friend. And also if you have skin with larger pores, or you have a lot of problem areas like I do, a matte foundation opposed to one that might have shimmer in it, like I know some foundations do have shimmer in it these days, you're going to want to stay away from that because that is going to accentuate any problem areas that you have. So a matte foundation is going to be your best friend. If you have dry skin, do not use a matte foundation because it's not going to be good. And also another tip that I've found is to kind of find a medium coverage foundation, not a full one, because a full coverage foundation is going to be very heavy and cakey. This is a medium to full coverage foundation, which means it is buildable. So you can definitely apply a sheerer wash of this foundation if you want. You want to find a foundation that's more medium coverage and matte if you have these kind of problems, if you have the kind of skin that I have. And again, with the powder, like I said, if you have a lot to conceal, using a powder foundation as your setting powder is going to help you a lot. But like I said, apply that with a brush instead of like the little sponge that it might come with, because a brush is going to give you a sheerer application of that so that it won't cake up on you. Because if you use the sponge, then it might be too much coverage and you're going to look a little cakey. But if you use a brush to apply a powder foundation, it's going to give you a lot more coverage, and it's going to definitely help you out in the concealing department. And bronzer. Bronzer is a great way to help you conceal blemishes, especially if, you know, because when you look tan, you look skinnier, it hides things better. So putting a little pigmentation onto your face is also going to help disguise blemishes and things like that. This did help some of you out, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and everybody have a really good day. Bye!